watching the game back again and seeing the intensity of the collisions. It was body on the line, defending, especially in I think that third quarter of the game, where they really were just picking themselves back up off the deck, getting in the defensive line, making another hit, and it just felt like it was inevitable that Leinster were going to get over for the try when they get into that sort of 5, 10 yards out, pick and jam, and then out of absolutely nowhere, Jameson Gibson Park fires a 20-yard pass to Luke Marshall, who intercepts it, and that just completely sucked the air out of that Leinster attack, and Ulster held out valiantly. They were strong, a lot stronger in the scrum. The scrum was pretty good. They were, a couple of really nice launch plays, especially from that first line out. A lovely take by Henderson down to Cooney, whip pass out to Billy Burns, and the next thing there's a chip kick over the top, and Nick Timley's onto it like a flash, and they're in for a score, and that just gave them a lot of confidence to go through the game and hold Leinster out. Yes, Donny, it wasn't the best Leinster team. Yes, it wasn't the best Leinster performance, but you can only play what's in front of you. And I think it's 23 losses out of the last 25 or something at the RDS. So, Ulster will take a lot out of that game. And first and foremost, it's the victory away from home in the RDS. Yeah, there's been a lot of hype, a lot of talk about Prendergast just because he seems to be like the next in line at Leinster. And of course, if you are next in line, you seem to be next in line for Ireland. And Billy Burns had something to say about that at the weekend. The only thing about Billy Burns is that, and nobody has really touched this, he doesn't kick a goal. You know, he rarely kicks for Ulster. Maybe one in every 4 or 5 games he might knock one over. But you have John Cooney that takes most of the kicks, and then you have Nathan Doak that takes the kicks when he's on. So if you're going to be an international out half, you have to be able to put the ball in the kicking tee and knock it over. And Billy Burns hasn't had the opportunities to do that. That's not his fault, but I think he showed what is the best thing about his game, and that's how good he is with his kicking game. They put in the coaches got together, put a strategy together, and put the ball, think the ball in behind. Leinster a couple of occasions kept loads of width. It's not by accident that Nick Timmody found himself out in the wider channels and was able to get in for a try. And fair play to all the coaching staff. They were able to come up with a plan to negate the line speed of Leinster and get over for a couple of scores. Seeing some of the media interviews over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of these injuries aren't just, oh yeah, he's a bang in the head, he's out with concussion, he'll return in the next couple of weeks. Like these seem to be 2, 3, 6 month injuries that the lads are being lost for. I know Peter O'Mahony is due back soon, but like Peter O'Mahony's not going to be he's not going to be the guy that's going to get Munster over the winning line and the games going forward over the next number of weeks, especially in the European Cup. They're going to have to dig really, really deep into the squad. And I know Graham Rowntree comes out in every pre-match interview and says, "I have faith in these guys. I trust these guys. This is the group of players that are going out to represent Munster." But the drop off in quality from what he has to work with, from what is injured, is just huge. And part of me does feel sorry for him. Of course it does, because I'm sure it's not easy trying to manage a squad, especially with the expectation, Donny, of winning the URC last season. And they had a major blip at the start of last year. So it's a bit of a blip now. They're going to have a couple of games where they could make a few points up after the European Cup. And they're just going to give it their all and see how it goes. But I'd be very surprised if Munster were able to turn their season around quickly due to the amount of injuries that they currently have. Yeah, it's brilliant to see Benetton up there. People are going to say, "Oh well, hold on a second." Over the Christmas period, they've played Zebre twice, and Zebre have been really poor. But they've also had some really good wins, and they've also picked up losing bonus points when it hasn't went their way, and sitting second in the table going into 2024. That's absolutely fantastic. I was there when they won the Rainbow Cup, I think as it was called, a couple of seasons ago after the whole COVID, and they played some fantastic rugby, some quality rugby. The fans were hugely engaged in the style of rugby that they were trying to play, and credit to them, they've sort of kept that going, because a lot of people could have just fallen off the cliff, especially after that competition. And there wasn't that much money being pumped into Benetton either. But they've made a couple of shrewd signings, Malachi Fekitoa in there, a couple other guys with plenty of experience. So, fair play to Benetton. Can they hang on to it now? Can they hang on to a top four spot? Well, how good would it be if they were able to get a home last 16 draw in the URC playoffs? That would be brilliant for them. It'd be brilliant for the supporters. And it'd be brilliant for me, Donny, because I get a bit of sunshine come the end of the season, top up the tan.